Hello, 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 and welcome back to the We Don't Want a Podcast. This is the show where two certified dipshits make uncertified takes about your favorite series. We are your hosts. I am Zach, and joining me as always, I think he's finally reached his breaking point. He has snapped. It is Scotty Westside.
Just can't take it anymore, man. I just can't take it. I've got these
Honestly,
ants.
I thought you've been over that edge for a long time.
I have been over the edge. But yeah, it's just, yeah. I've got these ants, and they made me snap, Zach. That's where I'm at this week. The ants have made me snap.
The ants?
Yeah, I got ants. Well, I had ants in my apartment.
Oh, I thought you were saying like because Danny is John's aunt.
No, that's a different kind of ant. That's A-U-N-T. These are ant, A-N-T.
That's an aunt.
That's an aunt. Yes, my auntie. These are ants ruining my fucking life right now and snapping me.
Ants, like the movie with Sylvester Stallone?
Is that Sylvester? You're right. That is Sylvester Stallone in that movie. No, not like ants as in Aunt Z. Ants as in A Bug's Life. Probably
Aunt
the superior
Z, like Daisy
movie. No,
like World War Z.
Jay-Z. What the fuck?
Love a good Z.
Love a good Z. Little Z.
Love a good
Shouts
Z.
to my third or fourth favorite Australian Smash YouTuber. I know it's very specific, but oddly true. Yeah, how's your week?
Interesting. All right. Dude. Well, you know, this is maybe an odd one for us. My week is just starting. It's Monday. We don't do this.
Not
what the fuck is happening?
Well, I had ants, so I was busy. I don't know what
Wait,
you were
hold
doing.
on. Is that why you couldn't record?
Well, no, that was part of it. I really did have ants, fire ants in my apartment.
Scott messaged me and he was like, I'm very busy this weekend. I can't record. Yeah, cut scene to Scott literally just having a full-blown war with these ants in his apartment.
Yeah, they were. I was fighting them off. Like it was like
Sylvester Stallone is a tough motherfucker
in there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I discovered ants. This was earlier in the week, and I don't know if I've ever told you that. I am like highly allergic to ant bite, stings, whatever. Like how some people are with bees, I am with ants. And yeah, I discovered these little fire ant bastards had gotten into my apartment somehow.
Fire ants?
Yeah.
What?
The worst motherfuckers. The literal spawn of Satan. That's why I say bite stings, because I've done research on these little bastards. They don't actually technically bite you. They just use their front mandibles to like latch onto their prey, whatever, and then they swing their ass around and stab repeatedly to inject their juice or whatever the fuck it is into you. Because
I love injecting my juice.
I knew you would love that one. The stabbing repeatedly, I knew you would love too. So yeah, I got like 2, maybe 3 of these stings on my my second toe of my right foot. And
on your toe?
Yeah, on my toe.
Fucking terrible.
And
dude.
I have such a terrible reaction to these things that my right foot was swollen up like nearly twice the size of my other foot. It was disgusting. Like,
what?
It was legitimately awful. It's fine now. Swelling's mostly gone down.
This might be kind of a deep cut.
Yeah.
But do you remember that animated Adam Sandler movie, 8 Crazy Nights?
I remember it. I don't think I ever saw it.
The old man who is like his friend in this movie, I can't remember his name now, but he has a giant foot. Like one foot is giant. That's what I thought.
Why is that an Adam Sandler thing? Didn't he have like the frostbite foot in Mr. Deeds? Do you remember that, Mr. Deeds?
He did, yeah.
There was something weird with his foot in Mr. Deeds, too.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't his foot. It was the old man's foot.
Well,
although Adam Sandler does voice the old man also, I think.
There you go. It's an Adam Sandler's got a foot thing. It's Quentin Tarantino and Adam Sandler. They should really do a collab. They love foot stuff. Anyway, so yeah, they're gone now, or I hope so, and my foot is feeling better, and that's how my week went. So
hell yeah. I love how you asked me how my week has been, and then you proceeded to tell me about your problem.
I had to tell you.
I'm glad that it's taken care of, and I'm glad that your foot is normal. Now we can do foot stuff together, so that's that's exciting.
It's gonna be a while before you want to be anywhere near my feet.
I might be into that.
Yeah, true. Are you into big, weird, pus-filled blisters? Let me just get real graphic here.
This sounds real gross.
Oh, it was disgusting. I'll send you a picture later.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. All right. My week was fine. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. Yeah. I've been just working, nerding out, doing photography stuff. Yeah, it's been good. Everything is good. I am good. Thanks for asking.
That's an excellent talk. I love how I had like 20 minutes of ant talk prepped, and you're like 30 seconds of I'm good. This is why we're such a good team, Zach.
Yeah, man.
No, but
when you push, I pull.
Yeah. We should probably move on to the meat and potatoes, because I don't know about you, Zach, but I feel like I have. Well, this is a long episode. This is season 8, episode 5, The Bells. And I feel like I have a lot to say about it. I don't know about you, but I think we'll have.
I feel like I also have a lot to say about it.
I think we will have some discussion here.
I think so too.
So we're gonna jump right in. And I'm going to start us off here with the recap. Was there anything else? Oh, why don't you do our little thing that we do now here towards the beginning?
Oh, yeah, because we're professionals.
Yeah, because we're professionals.
After 80-something episodes into Game of Thrones. If you're not already following the Twitter and Instagram, you can do that at We Don't Want a Pod. And really, the main reason we want to get this out in front of our episode today is, as you have probably noticed, there is one episode left of Game of Thrones before Scotty and I wrap this series up. Wait, what?
After this one, there's one left.
Correct, yes. And we have a lot of things to wrap up after we finish that episode. So we will be doing one more. Well, I don't know that it'll only be one, but we'll be doing a little bit extra after next episode, where we want to take your submissions, hot takes, call-outs, fun facts, really just thoughts and opinions, whether it's about the show, something we said, or something about Game of Thrones that you'd like to share. And we're going to discuss and maybe do a little bit of ranking, maybe do a little bit of circle jerking, all the good stuff. So be sure to send us a DM, an email, however you guys want to communicate with us to get those submissions in, and we might talk about it on the pod. So that would be tight.
For sure. Everything Zach just said, seconded. I am really curious. I want people's reactions and opinions and takes on especially like these last couple episodes, because I feel like, well, there could be hot takes both ways, let's say. So let's get into it. I'm actually very excited for this. So we begin with our guy Varys writing some spicy letters. One of his little birds comes in and tells him that Daenerys is not eating. Varys says they'll try again. Jon arrives, and Varys tells him that he's not sure where Daenerys will land on the Targaryen hot crazy scale, but he is sure about Jon. Jon says he doesn't want the throne, and Daenerys is his queen. End of story. Tyrion goes to Daenerys and tells her Varys has betrayed her. She says that Jon told Sansa, who told Tyrion, who told Varys. Ergo, it's actually Jon who is the betrayer. She's pissed at basically everyone and executes Varys with Drogon fire. God damn. Jon speaks with Daenerys, who tells him that she knew this would happen if he told Sansa. Jon says she will always be his queen, and she tries to kiss him, But Jon can't really get it up anymore now that he knows she's his aunt. She decides to be feared rather than loved then. Tyrion begs Daenerys to not burn the city and save the innocents of King's Landing, but she argues that the future generations will benefit from being out of Cersei's grip. Tyrion says if the city defenders surrender, they will ring the bells. Daenerys tells Grey Worm to wait for her outside the city with the army. She then tells Tyrion that Jaime was captured, trying to return to King's Landing, and that if Tyrion fails her again, it will be the final time. Finally. Finally, it's the final time. Tyrion has a chat with Jaime and tells him that he'll free him if Jaime convinces Cersei to run away with him. Jaime agrees, but says that Daenerys will execute him for this, Tyrion. Tyrion says it will be worth it, then shares a tearful goodbye with Jaime. Arya, Sandor, and Jaime get into King's Landing as the city braces for battle. However, Jaime doesn't quite make it to the Red Keep. Daenerys arrives on Drogon and starts obliterating the Iron Fleet before moving on to the gates of King's Landing. That poor dude that looks like an extra from Pirates of the Caribbean never had a chance.
R.I.P. my guy.
R.I.P. Strickland? Is that his name? The Dothraki,
yes.
Unsullied, and Northern armies move into the city as Drogon...
No, wait. Strickland is Golden Company, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The Golden Company guy.
Oh.
Who did you think I was talking? Doesn't matter. Unsullied and Northern armies move into the city as Drogon continues to lay waste. Qyburn goes to Cersei and tells her that it's looking pretty grim out there. But Cersei claims the Red Keep has never and will never fall.
Jon, Davos, and Grey Worm have a standoff with a bunch of Lannister soldiers who decide to throw down their weapons and surrender. The bells start to ring. But Daenerys is not satisfied and unleashes her fury upon the city and its people. If only Jon had satisfied her the night before. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grey Worm takes this as his cue to start killing unarmed soldiers. It's like this dude hasn't even heard of Geneva or its convention.
True.
Uncultured.
Yeah.
Jon tries to stop his men from fighting, but the slaughter won't stop. Daenerys and Drogon continue to burn as a horrified Tyrion looks on. Probably thinking, well, I fucked up. Jaime and Euron arrive at the secret entrance to the Red Keep at the same time. How serendipitous. They fight, and Jaime takes several knife wounds, but manages to clutch out a victory, putting Euron out of our misery. Yes,
truly.
True. Qyburn comes back to Cersei and is like, I'm pretty sure we gotta get the fuck out of this. Shit is really bad. We gotta go. Arya and Sandor arrive, and damn, great scene alert. Sandor tells her not to become like him, that she'll die if she continues to go after Cersei. Arya thanks him and leaves. The Red Keep continues to collapse under Drogon's assault, and this kills some of Cersei's Queen's Guard. Sandor arrives and kills the remaining 4, leaving only his brother, Gregor the Franken Mountain Qyburn. Oh, I thought you were going to list Qyburn. Okay, Qyburn tries to get Gregor to protect the Queen, but that quickly gets him the old smash skull treatment.
He loves that move.
Man, yeah, he really does like that move.
Yeah.
That's like the 4th time we've seen him do it in this show.
Truly.
Cersei quietly excuses herself, and Clegane Bowl is on. Dude, I remember how hype everybody was for Clegane Bowl.
Fuck yes. Absolutely.
Fuck,
we haven't talked about that much, but we will.
Yes. This fight goes hard, needless to say. Sandor full-on skewers his brother, but he just pulls that shit right out, sheds his armor, and unleashes his final form.
Hell yeah.
Gregor, barehanded, beats Sandor's ass for a little bit before unleashing his eye head crush finisher move. This is just an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
It's so anime. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Sandor puts his dagger right through Gregor's skull, then tackles him through the tower wall into the raging inferno below. Cue, there goes my hero.
Watch him as he goes.
Dude, Foo Fighters, man.
Hell yeah.
Let's go, man. Pouring out for my goat, by the way.
Truly. That's my fucking guy.
Arya runs through the city and tries not to get killed as people panic and run amidst the destruction. Jon and Davos get the Northerners to fall back out of the city. Arya awakens injured and choking on smoke and dust. She tries to help get some people out, but they all die anyway. Jaime stumbles into the keep and finds Cersei as she's breaking down. They share a tearful reunion. Jaime tries to get her out through the catacombs, but the way is collapsed. Cersei says she doesn't want their baby to die, and Jaime tells her nothing else matters but us, as the ceiling caves in on them. That is where the episode should have ended, but Arya had to have a bizarre moment with a white horse.
And then the episode ends.
Yeah. Bizarre. Bizarre is... Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about here, Scott.
There's so much to talk about.
But...
Yeah. I can't wait to hear this.
Is season 8 good?
Hey, season 8 might be good, actually. Is my hot and spicy take.
Scott, dude, is season 8 good?
Okay. I want to preface everything that I am about to say, and it sounds like what you're about to say, is that to my recollection, well, obviously, me and Zach have said this, that you and I, unlike most people, were overall more positive. Not that we loved everything, but we were more positive than the general consensus was towards season 8.
General consensus, yes.
Part of the reason we wanted to rewatch these episodes and really take a critical lens to it was because we wanted to see if that held up, if that was still true.
Right.
From my recollection, the things I disliked the most happened next episode, the final episode.
Sure.
So,
and I feel like a lot of people would probably agree with that.
Yes. And that's, I think, part of my beef is that people just default to season 8 was bad.
Yeah.
When I think they maybe are actually meaning the final episode was bad.
They just didn't like the ending.
Right. Because, but the other aspect of this is I for sure remember people disliking this episode.
Uh-huh.
And I think,
and I'll even, to add to that, Scott, I even remember me not liking certain things in this episode that upon rewatch, I was like, no, this is good.
Hey, this might be the best episode of the season so far.
Dude.
Is my hot and spicy take.
Really? That's interesting.
I could not
I was not expecting that.
How much I enjoyed this episode. It's not even like, oh, I watched it under like the best possible circumstances. I was in a really good mood, and I just, had a
swollen ant-foot.
I had a yeah, it's not. I think it was actually before the ants. I think, or after. I can't remember. I watched this like the last night of my weekend, which you're always kind of, like not happy the last night of your weekend. You're about to go back to work, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, shit, I got to get this done. I wasn't really looking forward to doing it. And then I was just absolutely just riveted and enthralled and consistently, surprisingly impressed by this episode. And I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it.
Dude, you and I have got to stop docking so much.
But it's our favorite thing to do.
Our heads are constantly fused. Like, let's just super glue while we're docking.
Well, yeah, just dock.
And make this official.
Dock forever. Docking forever.
Never-ending docking.
It's true. How do people look at this and think this is bad?
Okay, hold on. Well, at least I need to take a quick step back.
Okay.
There are some logistical things that I don't love.
Okay.
And we'll address them.
Sure.
But from a storytelling perspective, the storytelling is so good in this episode that I can suspend that disbelief for a moment for some of the things that I don't love.
100%.
I will still call them out because I try my hardest to be objective about this stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I was a little concerned because I was watching this episode and I was like, man, I am really liking this episode. Is
Zach's
Scott gonna feel the same way?
This episode kind of good, actually, though.
Dude, yeah, man. There's I mean, look, I think we should probably just jump into it, but like to segue, one of the perfect examples I have of this is even just the start of this episode.
Yep.
I recall not really liking the Varys sequence.
There's a lot in my limited memory, again, my memory is terrible, that I recall not loving in this episode. But yeah, this time I was like, wait, no, this is actually like very well done for the most part.
Very good.
Yes.
So
this included.
So let's talk about this Varys stuff.
Yes.
He's
trying to just poison Daenerys.
Yes.
Just to start the episode.
That's just where we're starting. And it's good. So here's the my issue here is that I might be we've already put the cart before the horse.
Yes, we have.
I think that this episode should have been 2 episodes.
I can see that.
And I think this might just simply be for some things that I personally would like. Didn't hinder the episode, didn't ruin the quality or anything like that, but just maybe my own personal preference would have appreciated some of this. Like this, for example, the Varys stuff. Varys is scrambling to try and set things in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And my initial take on it, the first time watching, was this happens too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't really fair. A lot of things in Game of Thrones happen fast.
Right.
But I think now upon rewatch, I think I understand my feelings towards that a little bit more, and I don't think it's that it happens too fast. It's simply that I want more of it. I would love to see Varys scheming a little more.
Sure.
Just because how can you not
want to see that.
Yeah, so like, and maybe some reactions of others to his scheming, right?
Yeah.
Like people receiving those letters.
Sure.
Like, I would love to see that. Yeah, I don't know. I just I would have loved that, but man, it's told so concise and intentional and good.
It's
like it's just great.
Yeah, I think we're so used to the slow burns of the early seasons that the pace of this season at times feels a little bit like, oh wait, no, let me sit in this and absorb this for a minute, but it's just like, nah, go. And again, to your point, on second viewing, it gets to the point, it's concise, and it's good. Because you mentioned a second ago about how you wish this was 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think we said something similar or the same exact thing last episode, episode 4.
Right.
And I'm just trying to think of like, from like an HBO like release perspective, because all these episodes of this season are like an hour and 20-ish minutes long.
Right.
what was their reasoning for? Why not just split them up into more episodes? I would think
That was
HBO would make more money. I don't know. It's just
it was
kind
a
of a weird
D&D thing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, like I mean that's a huge crux in why fans hate season 8 so much, and I just think that we need to help fans or listeners of the podcast like adjust their perspective to the fact that like it's not that the quality of the content is bad, but a huge production mistake was the fact that the showrunners did not want more episodes.
Yeah, I guess.
HBO actually if I have my timelines correct, initially wanted it to be a 10 episode season,
right.
Then even said we could do another season.
Right.
And they turned it down.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Now that you're saying these things, that does ring a bell. I'm just saying, like, even from just a breaking it up perspective, like with what, not adding more, just what they currently have, I feel like there's room for like one more episode. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And maybe it wouldn't
take the 20 to 30 minutes from each one.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And maybe that would have satisfied people more. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I loved this Varys stuff. The part that killed me was when Tyrion comes up to him as they're there on like the cliffs and the rocks, and he just says, "It was me."
Yes.
And it's just like they have so much history, like so many great scenes that you and I especially have loved and adored between these two.
Truly.
And this is how it is ending. That scene hurt me.
It's very heavy,
way. Yes.
especially because Varys lingers on Jon, thinking it may have been Jon that sold me out. And it's right then that Tyrion cuts in and says it was me.
And Varys like understands too. He doesn't like get mad at Tyrion, dude, or like rage or like why. He just kind of like, it takes him by surprise for a moment, and then he just kind of like accepts it and nods, and it's just like, God damn, Varys.
And you have to love that. That's the most Varys reaction, because he's so calculated and he just understands. He's one of those characters that has the mental capacity to, I guess, just to deal with that.
He understands his place. He understood he was the spider, and that there was probably no happy endings for the spider.
Yes.
But I think he told, they sing no songs for people like me, you know, to someone at some point. And yeah, like he had to know that was probably coming. And God, yeah, this first part hit me hard for sure.
So let's dive into one other scene, part of this whole opening sequence with Varys.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call out Emilia Clarke's acting.
100%.
With
her and Jon?
Her scene with Tyrion.
Oh.
Well, no, her and Tyrion, and then her and Jon.
Yeah.
Her disheveled, like, afraid and just uneasy acting is so good.
She is at the end of her rope, and that is very apparent.
Yes. And it's one of those things that, like, okay, so I feel like I need to preface this correctly, because a lot of you Dany fans out there who listen might try and be like, ha ha ha, right? Okay, so let me preface here. Another reason that I would have liked another episode here is to see more of this.
Sure.
Not in the way that many Dany fans say, oh, the turn was too quick, right? Like how they say, like, oh, like they should have taken longer to build it up, or yada, 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 right? Again, for the record, if this is your first time listening, it's been built up since season 1. Listen to our podcast. We call it out every single time. That's not what I'm saying.
Quick thing
but
that I meant to touch on. Sorry. Did you watch the pre-episode recap, like the little previously on Game of Thrones type thing?
Yeah.
Really good, by the way, because they had a bunch of lines from like 10 different characters that was all just like the foreshadowing leading up to this. And I'm like, nah, this came out of nowhere though. Like, nah.
Yeah, I know,
anyway,
right?
Sorry. Yeah.
So
I throw that in there.
So that's not what I'm talking. I'm not saying that like the build up needed to go longer. What
enjoyed
I want
this so
more
much
of this.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Seeing her in this state was truly fascinating. Like it's an experience I've not had with Daenerys. It is great.
I've literally never enjoyed Daenerys more as a character than I did watching this episode. Like
and this season.
This season, but it's just this episode, all of her scenes, I was 100% on board with Emilia Clarke's acting, with the I truly think the realism of her actions, of what she does, the emotions she portrays. Like, I particularly like just adored the Jon scene so much. Like, the Tyrion scenes were good, but the one with Jon, like, I feel for her so much, because she has, well, first of all, she feels betrayed by basically everyone around her.
Correct. Let's start with that, because
right.
that's heavy, man. How do you go about that? Not only does she feel betrayed by almost everyone around her, but one of the only people that she truly places her trust in also got killed last episode.
Yes, in Missandei. Well, it's been a never-ending sequence of disasters for Daenerys, because 2 episodes ago it was Jorah. Her like, yes, what did I say?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Daenerys.
Whatever.
I love that name.
Like, one of her longest compatriots and protectors, Jorah, dies, and then her best friend, I would say, like, is there anyone closer to her than Missandei?
Probably not. No.
Her best friend dies in front of her. Then her 2 closest political advisors both, quote unquote, betray her, in Tyrion and Varys. And the one that she loves suddenly doesn't love her anymore, or it's very complicated, obviously. And she also feels that he also politically betrayed her. And to top it all off, everyone loves Jon. They adore him, and she has felt none of that since she got here. So how can people not watch this episode and understand how emotionally distraught and fragile this human being would be in this instance? Like, I don't...
Yes, you take somebody who's already, like, on this, like, this tip of, like, could be violent,
right,
could be nice, right? And then you just literally shake the base of that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that is her foundation basically has been completely shaken and pulled out from under her. And
toss a couple corpses over there for good measure.
Yeah. And it's portrayed beautifully. It's told beautifully, I think, in this episode.
Yeah.
And dude, it is staggering, the resemblance that she has to her brother Viserys.
Yeah. They did a good job.
In this scene
props
with Jon.
to the makeup team and, all that. They did great.
It's, yeah, truly. Like, when she says, like, I have no love here, like, it reminds me of Viserys.
What he said
so
about, like, the
much.
Dothraki, when they were in the Dothraki camp, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. God, man, it's just great, dude. It's just good.
It's really good. Yeah, I loved pretty much all of this opening stuff from the Tyrion. We talked about the Tyrion Varys, the Jon Daenerys stuff, and then we get to, is this the like kind of the second Tyrion Daenerys scene, basically, where he's begging her to basically not burn the city.
Yes,
I think it's very
cold, dude.
Telling that when he's basically begging her, like, if they ring the bells, you'll stop, right? she doesn't actually respond. She doesn't say anything. All she does is nod to Grey Worm. And I think that's another very important distinction people need to make, is that I don't take that as an explicit agreement to anything Tyrion was arguing for here, you know?
Right.
Yeah, this another banger scene, honestly. Like, the way she lets him start to walk away and then stops him to tell him about the Jaime thing is just chilling. Again, Emilia Clarke
the way she tells him
it.
about the Jaime thing is great. The one thing I didn't like is this is your last chance. Like, our boy has had 28 last chances.
Fair. Totally
so,
fair.
You know, like, it's also wild that in the last day or two, she finds out that her two advisors essentially conspired or betrayed her. She kills one of them, but the other one also is on their 87th last chance.
Maybe
that is wild.
She's just like, I got literally no one else to replace him. I guess I'll keep him around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, Jon would be a good hand of the king.
Yeah,
hand of the queen.
I don't think she's very happy with Jon right now either. Though.
Yeah, that's very
the problem. True. Anything else about all this Daenerys stuff at the beginning you wanted to touch on?
No, just
Again, good stuff.
As a whole, I always love the pre-battle stuff. Like, that's just where some of my favorite content is in this show. And this is a perfect example of that. It doesn't disappoint. It's great.
100%. Then we get Tyrion Jaime, which is like a fine conversation, like him just basically trying to convince Cersei, and Jaime being like, she'll never do it. Then once they start to say their goodbyes, it's like,
yes,
holy shit.
See, I like the whole thing, and here's my take on it. The whole thing is this to me. Tyrion is very trying to keep it together.
Yes.
And that's why it's like a very direct and pointed.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You have to do that, like trying to reason, like trying to make it make sense for Jaime. But when he finally says what he's been thinking, when he says that tens of thousand innocents or one not so innocent dwarf seems like a fair trade to me.
What a line.
He finally, I know, dude. He finally says what he's thinking there.
Yeah.
And accepts that is probably going to be his reality.
Yeah.
It's then that he's like, I need to cherish this moment with Jaime more. And then it breaks down. So I like it from start to finish because that's how I read that scene.
That's a good point.
It's beautiful, dude.
That's a good point. We love these two. Obviously, this is another example of, hey, when these two characters are together, it's more than likely going to be a banger scene. And seeing them say these goodbyes as Tyrion is breaking down, where, he's telling Jaime that, I wouldn't even be alive if it wasn't for you. Like, I would not have survived. You were the only one that cared about me. It's just touching, and it just, man, it hits hard. Cause
the only one who didn't see me for a monster.
Right.
The only one.
Because we've been with these characters for so long now to this point, and we see how people treat Tyrion.
Right.
Or a lot of people do, especially like, his family, his father, his sister. And the fact that Jaime, was the one that didn't see him as a monster, stuck with him for so long. Like, this goodbye hits hard. It just really does.
100%.
And I loved it. I don't know how the army, did the army take boats or did they march? I can't remember. How did the army get ahead of Arya and Sandor is my big logistical question here in this episode. Because a whole army marching does not go faster than two people on horses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could have taken boats. I don't remember, but still though. Yeah, then it's just kind of battle prep. Can we talk about this like slow 80s synthy like battle prep music? Did you catch on to this?
Yes, I did.
What was that fucking track? It was so good. I do not remember that one. I was like, oh, this goes kind of hard though.
Like shit's gotta gonna pop off here soon.
Dude.
That's how it felt.
That
Yeah,
track
definitely.
went crazy.
Yeah, okay. I think I did something bad in my brain space.
Uh-oh. Love when you do bad stuff in the brain space.
But me being a shithead and doing this, I think made me appreciate this episode even more. I was very surprised at how much I liked the Varys stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I adored the Tyrion Jaime scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the battle stuff. And in my head, I was like, oh, well, this has to be where it gets terrible. Right? Like, this has to be where it gets so bad.
Okay,
like,
sure.
It's got to happen now.
Okay.
So I started the battle sequence.
In a bad headspace.
Just in a bad headspace.
Okay.
And one of the things that stood out to me is just how stupid it was that Dany flies over the entire fleet and destroys the entire fleet
in about
and
12 seconds. Oh.
Yeah, in about 12 seconds. And also does not get hit by a scorpion.
Yeah, listen, I
like that's one of those things that I'm like, come on.
Yeah, listen, we talked about this. Drogon's got that agility buff, on. Like he has immunity to all airborne weapons. I don't know what to tell you. No, listen, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just because the rest of this episode was so good, I just looked straight past that. I was like, I mean,
care. that's my overall sentiment.
Sure.
But it's worth calling out because, there was a tiny piece of the Iron Fleet waiting for them at Dragonstone, and they fucking killed Rhaegal.
I don't know. Was it a tiny piece, or was it the whole thing?
No, it was like 6 ships.
I don't remember. Dragonstone and King's Landing are right next to each other. It could have been the whole fleet. They just didn't show it.
They couldn't have an entire fleet hiding behind one rock.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
It was just a few ships.
Those Unsullied are terrible scouts.
Yeah, truly. It's just something to point out. It was just a little like, I don't know, just a little stupid to me.
Listen, I don't disagree. Yeah, the whole Golden Company did not last long. The fucking Golden Company.
Why? So that's another one.
Yes,
it's like, why even introduce the idea of the Golden Company? Just make it more Lannister soldier. Like, you don't need, I don't know.
I think the reason they did it was to like even the scales in people's mind of like, without putting that, it's like, well, Cersei's got no shot. And I mean,
right.
she realistically had no shot unless they could take down her dragon, which, because of Drogon's buffs, they could not. So, I don't know. It's just trying to like even the scales, hype up the battle more in people's minds, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they did basically nothing, part of me doesn't like it, but also part of me is just like, nah, that's dragons, baby. This is why the Targaryens ruled the 7 kingdoms for so long. And had no one to challenge them, is because they had fucking dragons, because this is what dragons can do, and that's kind of just how I look at it.
I mean, I agree. And something I will say on a positive note here is that, like, I feel like this is a more accurate depiction of the power of Dragonfire.
Right.
Which, like, we see Dragonfire in several other episodes, and it just doesn't, like, seem...
It hits hard in this episode.
Yeah, it's
good.
Yeah, she's just got a nuke.
Straight up does. It's like Drogon is blowing extra hard. There's like fucking force behind that fire. And I'm here for it because it looks cool and it's, effective. King's Landing is made of Legos, maybe, but it is very
some
effective.
Of the building breakage.
Yeah.
Like what does? Okay, here's another thing that I wanted to just call out more for our lore brains. You have this castle in Harrenhal.
Yeah.
That was rained down on with dragon fire.
Yeah. And it melts.
And Harrenhal melted.
Right.
It didn't shatter.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that some parts broke and whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
see,
you get where I'm going.
No.
It's like every fire blast, like literally just punched through Legos.
Yeah, it literally was Legos a couple times. I'm pretty sure they were just filming Legos. No, this is one of those things that I'm sure the people who dislike season 8 ultra fixate on. Like this, or, things like what we thought, well, why didn't the Golden Company do it? To me, this is one of those things that's like, it's such a small thing in comparison to the storytelling that is happening that I don't care.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The storytelling and the characters behind this episode so far to this point have been so good that these little quibbles like, oh, well, why can't the Iron Fleet hit Drogon? Or why does Drogon's fire suddenly have fucking like such incredible force behind it? And the Golden Company did. It's like, minor annoyances. This will not ruin this episode or the season for me. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I feel like we should still call them out.
I think that there's weight behind them. I think that if these are things that you do truly care about and you've always cared about, then fine.
Sure.
Okay. That's fine. But if those same people say that the only reason that the rest of Game of Thrones is good is because they didn't have those issues, then they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what makes this show what it is.
Right.
Like, I hate to break it to you guys, but that's not.
Yeah. And also, I think those, the things we just talked about, the small quibbles, as I call them, are what people try and pile on because, from my recollection, the thing that people really didn't like about this episode, obviously, is what we're about to get to, which is the turn, the Daenerys situation. I think we're
the heel.
Yes, the heel turn. We're pretty much there, right? Like, I mean, Jon and Grey Worm and everyone's moving into the city.
Yeah, I do want to ask one thing here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Actually, I'm sorry. I'm a little out of order. This will come after.
Okay.
Never mind. Disregard.
So the Lannisters throw down their weapons. The bells begin to ring. Tyrion is looking on very, like intensely scared.
Dude, the suspense building up to the bells ringing also is very good.
Very good. It shows Daenerys, and I just don't understand how anyone can watch this moment, and I guess I can understand if they're just like, ride or die, Daenerys is my, like, I want Daenerys to be the hero type of mindset. I guess I can understand that. But if you are just interested in interesting character moments, like even if you, unlike us, love Daenerys to this point, this is just I'm sorry, this is an interesting and exciting direction to take her character. And in my mind, in my opinion, like I said, this is the most I've been invested in her and character, like in this entire show.
Yeah, I agree with that, dude. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say again, said this a million times. It absolutely did not come out of nowhere. It was not the RKO out of nowhere. It has been built up and foreshadowed, and like literally, even if you only watch this episode and look at Daenerys, if you showed someone this episode alone, I think anyone with any brain could tell, yeah, that lady looked like she about to snap, like for real.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
I think one of the things that I wanted to comment on that I think might help some perspective here is this. Like, you and I love interesting characters that have nuance to them, characters that have battles that they're fighting internally, characters like your Jaime Lannisters, your Sandor Clegane, Tywin Lannister. These characters are rich, right? With decision making, they're rich with, several different things because these are all very different characters, right. But they all have something
they have
that
flaws.
Yes, and they all have flaws. And despite Daenerys not being one of my favorite characters, because I personally am not a fan of her character design and build, like essentially the way that her character chooses to act. Mm-hmm. Her character is not a bad character.
No.
Right? Her character is actually, truly, for the purpose of what her character is an excellently written character.
Yeah, I would agree.
And especially in this moment, it makes me feel so much for her character.
Yes.
Which is what's so interesting about these conflicted characters, because I don't really care about her. Like, I don't like her. You know, I'm not a Dany fan. But when you list out, like how we did at the top of the episode, everything that's gone wrong for her and the position that she feels that she is in, is it logical? No, right? But she's not in a logical state of mind.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting.
Yes.
Right? It's just so good, man. It's so rich. How can you not just get lost in like trying to understand and feel for a character like this? Like, reskin this, put anybody else on it, and it's just a beautiful story. It's great. So I just wanted to get a chance to say that for I don't want somebody to just say like, you only like this because you're not a Daenerys fan. Like that's not what's happening here. This is just excellent storytelling.
Yes.
And her character has just become so rich with this type of decision making and this type of conflict that I just have to appreciate it. It's so good.
Yeah. I think a younger woman in her position writing a nuke for all intents and purposes, at the end of her rope, betrayed by everyone, she feels like she literally just told Jon, fear it is then. Making this decision in this moment, whether it's rational or not, like her just unleashing her fury upon the city makes total 100% sense. And again, it's just an interesting character choice, and I love it. The other thing I love is that after this moment, they do not show Daenerys for the rest of the episode. And I think that choice is also excellent. Because this is where, like, this is like the this episode is long, and we're going to also go long. This is like the halfway point in the episode, which also shocked me as I was watching this episode. I was like, how the hell is there still half of this left? But the fact that she then just becomes this basically faceless terror that is raining destruction upon the city, and you don't cut back to her and show, how she's feeling or, the emotions on her face, I think is another very interesting and very good choice.
Yeah.
And very intentional, I think, obviously. Yeah, I can't. I could not believe as I watched this how much and how much I love this moment and how hard it hit.
Yeah, it's interesting because so you called out how she tells Jon, fear or love, right? And although this is maybe the first time that she's voiced that specific sentiment, show don't tell, baby.
Right.
Like this has been her MO always.
True.
Okay? This has always been her motivation, fear or love. Will she bend them to her will through fear with Drogon or with the Unsullied or the Dothraki, or will they love her? And it's interesting because I think this series as a whole shows us really well that like the key to ruling well, like Jon, is finding that middle ground, which is called respect.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's not just one or the other, the left or the right, the fear or the love, but there's a middle sliver in there where it's respect. And you can do a little bit on both sides to get into that middle space, and she's just not capable.
Yeah.
She's not capable of that. It's either or, and that is how she's always been, and this is just a great depiction of that.
It's true. I also think that Grey Worm going brazy and starting killing dudes also totally makes sense for what he's going through. Like his love just died.
Yes.
And he's like, hell yeah, let me kill some Lannisters. I hate those fuckers. They took the person I love away from me. Yeah, and then it's just kind of a lot of slaughter, and it's rough.
Yeah, there's some really brutal cuts in this.
Yes.
I remember specifically a guy going like this and his hands getting sliced off.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of his hands. It was like, this shit.
This has got to be like one of the more violent episodes of the show ever, I feel like. This episode definitely did not shy away from depicting like the horror here. Let's see.
It's so good.
It is very good. Jaime and Euron next. Okay, this isn't like great. let me just maybe the worst part of the episode. I don't know.
Okay, I have a headcanon.
Okay,
I might share with you.
Okay,
my headcanon is simply that Euron also knows that this is an entrance to get back up to the keep.
Okay.
And that's where he was headed also. They just happened to be there at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's suspend your disbelief. The fact that they both they both happen to find this secret entrance to the Red Keep at the exact same time and walk up is ridiculous, obviously, but
yes,
whatever. That we have to someone has to do something about Euron and put him out of my misery, especially. And thankfully Jaime does just that. I don't really have anything else to say about this to you.
It's an all right fight.
It's fine.
That's it. I mean, it does get pretty brutal there at the end. Jaime getting stabbed in the ribs.
Yeah. This whole episode is brutal. For sure. Because there's another brutal fight upcoming that I absolutely adored. But before that, hey, I know this is going to sound shocking, but Arya and Sandor have a great scene together. Isn't that weird? Isn't that wild?
It is. And I am kind of conflicted about Arya this episode as a whole.
Okay. Interesting. In what way?
Okay, so on the positive side, I love that she's been hell-bent on this revenge quest. Like, this has been her direction, full force direction.
Right.
And the only thing that pulled her away from that was the love for her family, right?
Right.
Pulled her back up to Winterfell.
Correct.
Which also I love.
Yes.
Really, really good motivators and very character defining in my opinion. I also love that her relationship with Sandor is the only thing that is able to derail and completely have her not just be distracted from the revenge quest, but put it to bed.
Right. Agreed.
I love that.
Agreed.
I love this. What I don't love is that this means that Arya, her only place in this episode was for this scene.
Yeah, kind of.
But we get so much Arya.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Considering.
Yeah.
Like what is her purpose here in King's Landing other than this scene?
Yeah. I see what you're saying, and I think they use her point of view as a device to show us like the terror of the
destruction.
The terror and the destruction.
Literally have that in my fucking notes, Scott.
Of course you do.
And my follow-up to that is we have take your pick of 30 other characters that can do that for us. You know? But whatever.
I'm also not going to super complain because I love Arya. And
sure,
if she gets more screen time, all the better. But I don't disagree with what you're saying, to be honest with you. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, this scene is so good, I just don't care.
You don't care. Okay.
It just again, Maisie Williams and why am I blanking on
Rory McCann?
Rory McCann. Their like chemistry and their acting together is always so good. But especially big props to Maisie in this scene because he gets through to her and she looks like kind of the scared young woman that she has not been like in a long time. Like this is terrifying what is going on.
This is I'm so glad you said this, dude. This is a very short glimpse of, I guess, like past the layers of all of the hardships that Arya has been through.
Right.
This is a glimpse at her like core.
Right. And who gets through that? It's fucking Sandor.
It's fucking Sandor, dude. It's so, yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful moment, dude. I mean, really, it's aside from the character moment, it's also a great scene. Like it's acted well, it looks great, and dialogue is fantastic.
Just him telling her, this is what your vengeance looks like. This is what I am. This is what you will become. You don't want to look at me. Do you really want to be like this?
She looks away and he yells again.
Yes.
Look at me.
Look at me. It's so good, dude. And then her thanking him, calling him Sandor and then thanking him. I just like, I think I definitely teared up a little. Dude, I was just like, oh my God, dude. I fucking love these two.
Incredible, dude.
And the final scene we get between the two of them did not disappoint. And then Sandor just goes on a fuck your nameless, faceless black Queen's Guard. They ain't shit. I'm here to fight my fucking
I hope
brother.
you paid those extras enough to let me beat the fuck out of them.
Truly. They're gonna go down in fucking 2 seconds. This is only about me and Gregor. I love how obviously after Franken Mountain destroys Qyburn, it's so funny the way Cersei just kind of slowly tiptoes past everything. And just Sandor doesn't care. That's not why he's
cartoonish.
Here. Yes.
It's so funny how she's like, she looks to the left and she's like, that's a scary motherfucker. She looks down and she's like, that's another scary motherfucker. I'm going to just hope. I'm going to just hope.
Don't mind me. And I'll just excuse myself. It's so funny. And this is,
dude,
Sandor doesn't give a shit about Cersei. He's like, yeah, you go. I don't care. I'm here for one reason. And his ass is up there. It's so good. And this fight is so anime and I love it so much. It's amazing.
Okay. I have a confession to make, Scott.
Okay. You don't love it?
I don't love their fight.
Interesting. I feel like I didn't the first time from what I remember, but I loved it this time.
I feel like I didn't the first time and I didn't now.
What didn't you like about it?
So it's not an aggressive feeling, okay? It's not like a strong feeling. It's just I just didn't love it, which is just fine. There's a lot of things, if I'm being honest. So one of them is just my personal bias. Okay, this is not a shot at the quality of anything here.
Sure.
Personal bias. I don't love the concept or idea of Frankenmountain. Like, I don't like the whole like undead, overly powerful thing.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
I hate. I like. It's not a theme I like in anything.
Yeah.
Like, give me anything zombies, anything undead, anything horror.
No, I'm with you.
If it touches that, I'm not into that. Kind of like my take on Thriller Bark. I just don't like that stuff. Okay,
fair enough.
Moving past that, another personal bias, and this is really nitpicky here.
Okay.
I hate that they're fighting on the stairs.
Okay.
Like there's not room for a big clash of titans. You know what I mean? It's just, I guess. It's just this small, confined, like, fight, and I don't love it. Again, personal bias, personal opinion.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, which is more of like a, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I guess something maybe that makes a little more sense, like story-wise. Frankenmountain beats the ever-living fuck out of Sandor.
Yeah.
Smashes him on walls, kicks him down. Like I get that Sandor's a big guy, but how's this dude's head not fucking exploded?
Because he's not
the way that
a freaking tiny-ass frail man like Qyburn. He's fucking the Hound, bitch.
Okay, but we just talked about how the fact that, like, this isn't the Qyburn's not the only person he's done that to.
Yeah, okay, well, I hate to break it to you, but the Hound is also bigger and beefier than our dude, what's his name, too? The Red Viper.
I'm just saying, like, he doesn't just get, like, a against the wall. Like, dude, he gets beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
By the mountain. Slammed against the wall several times. Like, I'm just saying, this is a signature move of Frankenmountain now.
Yes, it is.
And, like, I don't know.
Listen, as his brother, Sandor is privy to his signature moves, and he did, like, the counter spell, you know? He, like, I've seen your jutsu before, and I know how to counter.
Gotcha. Okay. But
let me tell you. Okay,
I will put that to bed.
Okay.
And I will say, like, the fight is epic. Which is good. I do like Sandor in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I love his decision, and I love the ending.
Yeah.
So those things are my positive takes on it. It's just I just have personal beefs, like that's fine. I don't like that.
I don't think any of your beefs are like crazy unreasonable. I do want to say, like, I don't think this is like the best one-on-one fight in the series, like by any means. I just think,
and I don't think it's supposed to be that.
No, I just think for the hype, and we haven't talked about this much, but like the idea of Clegane Bowl was like such a popular and hyped up idea amongst the fan base, like book readers, especially for the longest time. So the fact that we finally got it is just very hype and cool as an idea to begin with. And what I liked about it was just how, like, obviously I love Sandor in it, like how matter of fact he is at the beginning when he, like, you know, he knocks off the helmet and he sees this just absolute fucking terrifying monster and just is completely unfazed by it and just goes like, yeah, that's you, or whatever he says, you know. And then at some point as he's getting his ass beat, he's just kind of like laughing through it, you know, laughing through the pain. Like he's just kind of in this space of like, how do I kill this fucker? Like, what do I have to do? Just kind of losing it. And then, just the way the way it ends, I think, is definitely the best part, where he just fucking tackles his ass through the wall and they fall, is just like, like, it's, again, I don't think it's like the greatest fight in the whole series, but it was satisfying.
It's definitely like an epic moment. And you brought up Clegane Bowl, so just a little bit of cool stuff for you listeners and followers of the pod who maybe have not read the books or maybe are just new to the show.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point, if you guys recall back earlier, where everybody thought Sandor was dead.
Yep.
And even in the books, had no idea that he was still alive. There were some whispers that he may be alive in the Riverlands. But there had just been a extremely hyped and favorite fan theory that he was not dead and that we would eventually get the Clegane Bowl, where we would finally get to see the Clegane brothers fight to the death.
Yeah.
And it had just been hyped for a very long time.
A very long time.
Longer for Scott, of course. Obviously, Scott's got a little bit more history with the series than I do. But even with me, up until like getting up to that point and not knowing what was going to happen with the Hound, that was definitely something that I was like, man, I want this so bad.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff. Then we just get a lot more of Arya running through the city, a lot more destruction, a lot more brutality.
I don't really want to talk about that anymore. Arya's boring this episode, in my opinion.
That's fine.
Other than her scene with Sandor,
I do want to say I kind of like the way. I don't know. There was something about the way that she makes the decision. She's going to help save some people, and it just doesn't matter. Like they just fucking get killed. Regardless. That's
very brutal and very not sure the word I'm trying to use here, but just like very real.
Yeah. I liked that. I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's a good call out. That's good.
I think it's. Well, I don't want to go. Well, never mind on that. But I think it was an interesting. Like again, I think what you said about we get a lot of Arya in this episode, and she really only needs to be there for the Sandor scene is not inaccurate. But I did like that. She at least tried to save some people. She tried to do some good. And it kind of just fell apart on her, which is rough, but I think still interesting.
Since you're talking about it, the one scene where she's got the mother who's taken the daughter.
Yeah.
The mother's really hurt, and she's just like, "Here, please save my daughter instead." And you can see, the impending doom of Drogon turning to go down this street. And
because the daughter starts to go with Arya, but then runs back for her mother, right? And that's how she gets killed.
She gets scared,
right? Oh,
and Arya's just like, "Come on!"
And Arya just has to go and abandon her, basically.
And Arya has to be like, "Okay, like I'm going to die if I don't." Yeah. So she just lets her go, and they just get lit up, man.
Again, I think wild. It is. This show has never been about the common people, if you will. Like this is a show about the power players, like
of course,
the big dogs. But in this episode, I did appreciate that they kind of put us on the ground level, put us in the trenches, and let us experience how like just the terror, the destruction, the brutality that was going on. I think that was effective. So, Is this just, I think, our last thing, the Jaime Cersei stuff?
Jaime Cersei.
All right, hit me, Zach. What do you think?
Okay, so I think that this is maybe my hottest take.
Okay.
Comparatively to how passionately people hate this. I consistently feel, or I consistently hear, even now, years after it's finished, that Jaime deserved better, that Cersei deserved a more epic death. And while I think that sentiment can be true, I kind of think this is extremely fitting.
I think it's fitting as well.
I think it's extremely fitting. And a lot of people they romanticize like the death experience, which I get that. Like that it is Game of Thrones, so like I can't fault anybody for feeling that way, okay? It's not a call out.
Right.
Just the death experience is romanticized in this show in a way that like oh, Arya should have killed Cersei.
Right. Or Jon should have killed the Night King.
Yeah, but wasn't Arya's arc and scene and her putting to bed the idea of revenge here such a beautiful close to that chapter of her life with Sandor?
Yes, it was.
So with things like that, it's like Arya shouldn't have, like, when I've already experienced this now. I've experienced this incredible closure
right
to Arya's revenge quest that no, Arya should not have killed Cersei. Like
right.
that does not make sense. And then Jaime deserves better. This one is hard to talk about because you know how much I love Jaime.
Yes, we love Jaime.
And would I have loved more from his character? Yes, but you and I talked about this. Was it last? I can't remember now.
Whenever
last
he
episode,
left
right?
Brienne, basically.
When he leaves, yeah, last episode.
Was that last? Just like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Jeez.
You and I talked about this, man. Like, his love for Cersei is like a drug.
Yeah.
Like, he relapses, and that's it. It kills him. Like, it is so fitting, I feel like.
Yes. See, this is where I think I think we can compare and contrast like what happens with Jaime and where his storyline kind of goes with, I think, the way a lot of people feel about Daenerys. It's like, oh, my favorite hero did a bad thing and now she's a bad guy and I don't like that. And I think those feelings are fine if that's how you feel. Like, that's fine. But what I don't want to hear is like, oh, this is bad character writing. Because that part is just simply not true. With Jaime, you and I talked about how very conflicted and torn we were by his leaving Brienne and him deciding to go back to Cersei. Because on one hand, it was like, this is a very like interesting and probably true to the character way for him to be written. Do I want better for him because I like this character? Do I want him to live happily and, you know, have a good ending? For sure. But also I appreciate good character writing. And I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, that's what is more important. And would some part of me love to see Jaime get a happy ending at the end of the day? I'm sure I would, but it wouldn't be true to his character and the journey that he has been on. You know, we talked a lot about his redemption arc, so to speak, but he also had plenty of backsliding moments on that redemption arc. And at the end of the day, for Jaime, it just, he could not change who he was. And who he was he loved Cersei.
Yes. And next to Jaime as well, Cersei, we can't really get out of this conversation without also having the same conversation for Cersei.
Sure.
Because she's just as notable, just as powerful, just as well written and complex of a character. Maybe not as complex, but extremely complex still.
Sure.
And there's this interesting thing that happens with Cersei where, you know, she's known for being a menacing queen and a fierce mother, right?
Yes. Jaime tells Tyrion in their scene every terrible thing she's ever done has been for her children.
Yes. But also, her means to protect her children has to do with this, like, just inherent need for power.
Yes.
In her brain, power equals protection for her children.
Correct.
Okay. And so this you have these two sides of like what makes her character, which is the love for her children and her, I don't know that I would call it lust for power, but her need for power to support her love for her children. And it is literally that gets her killed.
Yeah.
She is buried underneath the castle that to her was her
meant protection. Yep. That's a good call. It's very thematically fitting.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
And the only person that's ever been able to somewhat calm, somewhat understand, somewhat
temper her,
empathize with her, temper her, who she does genuinely love, but she loves in a lustful way, I feel like, not the way that she loves her children, the way that she loves her the power.
Sure.
Is there to say, hey, it's all right.
Yeah.
And also you're my drug and I'm relapsing and I'm dying right here. It really is like truly is an extremely fitting end for the both of them.
It's kind of beautiful,
and I love it
when you break it down that way. Like
I love it.
The way, kind of just the pure relief and happiness that was on both of their faces when Jaime stumbles in there.
Yes,
it's
dude.
just like I shouldn't feel this happy for these like bad characters. Not bad, in the way that they're poorly written, like they're evil, I guess.
Yes.
But again, evil is also very weird and subjective in this show. The bad guys, quote unquote, is just like, I shouldn't feel this happy seeing them have this reunion. But just the elation and the relief from both of them was just like so palpable. It hit home. And then obviously Cersei has the moment when she doesn't think they're going to get out, when she's just breaking down and like, just talking about her child, her baby, how she has to protect her baby. And it really is, I think, just a beautiful, I love how you talked about how you brought up like kind of the symbol, what Cersei has used to protect herself is literally what ended up killing her, like collapsing upon her.
Yeah. And her,
like,
her status
beautiful.
And her being this like this symbol, like her being this revered icon of power to the realm. And in her death, nobody will find her body.
Yeah.
Nobody will recognize her. Like she's nothing.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, man. I think it's I went into this scene being like, oh, here we go, the castle fall scene, because I remember this, and I think I've let the internet and fans kind of corrupt my memory of this. I'll be honest. I do recall being a little underwhelmed with this the first time I saw this, but man, this second watch, I was floored at how much I loved it.
Yeah, I think this is another thing. You and I have talked about this before, about many different things, but like this is like the weight of expectations problem, because I feel like even us who did enjoy season 8 more than most people still had a lot more disappointment in a lot of things that I'm feeling now rewatching this episodes. Now that the weight of the expectations of this is the final season of like one of my favorite shows of all time is lifted and gone, I can enjoy it for what it is. And what it is actually really good. Small quibbles aside, there's a lot of really good stuff here. Yes. And this moment for sure, I think, is one of them. I don't know what more people could have wanted from like a Jaime and Cersei death here in this moment.
Well, and I think that people can't, or people struggle, I shouldn't say can't. Many people struggle to put themselves in that headspace because to them, the issue comes before that. To them, the issue comes with Jaime shouldn't be here.
Yeah, sure.
Like the issue comes with Cersei Arya should kill Cersei, or Jaime should kill Cersei, right? Like, I mean, there was a lot of people that were on
that was a big one.
Which also, had that happened, would it have been true to the arc and what I've appreciated from what we've seen from Jaime's character? No. Could it have worked if it was done a little differently? Sure. I mean, there is.
That was a big theory that I ascribed to for a while, was that Jaime was going to kill Cersei. For sure. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Could have been cool. It could have happened before him leaving Brienne.
Yes, no, 100%.
Never have happened
at that point, no, that ship had sailed.
But anyway, okay. Good conversation, Scott. I'm glad that we got to hash out my thoughts for this Jaime Cersei scene, because I was really worried that this would be the spot that you and I did not align on.
Really?
And and
I think you helped me like it more than I did. Like, I already thought it was like a good moment, a good scene. I really am curious as to, for all the season 8 haters, and again, to my recollection, I think most of the things that I most strongly disliked are coming next episode. So
sure,
bear that in mind. But specifically, I remember this episode getting a very bad reception.
Yes.
I wonder how many of these people that think it's shit have given it another rewatch.
I still, to this day, on Twitter and on TikTok, I still to this day see people comment on like House of the Dragon stuff. Nope, won't watch it.
Oh,
they ruined
yes.
Game of Thrones.
100%.
It's like, dude,
100%.
fuck off and grow up, dude.
I literally have
it's so stupid.
A friend at work who refused to watch House of the Dragons because of season 8 of Game of Thrones, is all he'll say about it. Despite like 5 or 6 of the other one of us, when House of the Dragon was happening, every fucking Monday morning coming in and just raving about how fucking incredible it was and how he needs to watch it. No, season 8. And it's just like, dude, grow the fuck up.
If you want to feel that passionately, don't support Benioff and Wise anymore. Like, these are different showrunners.
I don't think they do. Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, do you watch anything HBO does?
Yeah. At that point, yeah, exactly.
How are you boycotting HBO as a whole now? Like, fuck off, dude.
Yeah,
fucking grow up.
Or at least, like I said, listen, if you are out there and you have given season 8 multiple watches and you still hate it, you know what? Hey, you do you. Like that, I suppose I can't fault. But I truly am curious for all like the people that just, it's terrible. The internet has told me it's terrible, and I agree. Look at all these little nitpicks. Why is Drogon dodging every scorpion bolt? This is some bullshit, and moved on. Like, suspend your disbelief a little bit. Let the characters and the storytelling sweep you away, because
these are the same people that will have nothing to say about Jon not getting fucking trampled in Battle of the Bastards. Like, you're not going to say anything about that, but you have a problem. Like, these issues are relevant and happen all throughout the series.
Yes,
guys. This is how fantasy works.
Yes,
you have to be aware of this. Like, so yeah. If you watched through all of season 7 and you want to complain about season 8,
go grow the fuck up. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Season 7 is so much worse than season 8. It's not even close. If you wanted to complain about the show, you should have given up on it after season 7. Like, yeah, come on.
I agree, dude. Holy shit.
One quick note I just saw that I really want to call out. I am glad they showed the green wildfire caches exploding.
Oh, yeah.
Because that makes nice touch. Nice touch. It makes the whole widespread destruction of the city also more believable, that it's not just like, oh, one dragon is doing all this, like, no, he's like setting off wildfire explosions also, which is fucking up the city. I thought that was really cool and a very nice touch as well.
Agreed.
Man.
the Arya stuff, the Arya white horse thing.
Oh,
What do we
right.
think
Do we
about
need to
this?
talk about this?
I mean,
Why?
look,
Why
we've
did
been
the
extremely
episode
nice.
not end? That's true. With the collapsing. That's where it should have fucking ended.
Yeah.
And I'm so genuinely
That's where the
pissed
second
they didn't.
episode in this episode should have ended.
Yeah, true. What's the deal with this horse, Zach? Tell me about this horse.
No, I was hoping you would tell me.
I have no. This is weird. I have no idea what's going on. It's symbology, man. Symbolism. I don't know. It should have ended about a minute earlier. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It's
she could have woken up and ridden off on the horse at the beginning of the next episode. Like you literally had a perfect ending, and they did blow it. I'll shake to that. If someone wants to be like, nah, episode's fucked because they fucked the ending, like I'll yeah, okay, sure, I'll shake to that. That was they blew
like
it there.
I want to have an honest conversation with whoever's call that was to put that scene afterwards.
Okay, yes. No, I thought you were going to say something different. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. I don't get it. I don't know what that's about.
Anyway,
what I was alluding to earlier when we talked about hey, send us in, your questions, comments, spicy takes. I would love some direct feedback on this episode in particular, because I want to hear from people. If you are out there and you totally disagree with us, you think we are, drinking the Kool-Aid, sucking the dick of this episode, and we're idiots and it's absolute trash. I want to hear exact reasoning and not like, and come on, give me more than just like the small bullshit we already called out and acknowledged. Like, I want some real juice. And I'm also very curious if there are other people like us who have rewatched this and felt as strongly then as we did about it. Like, I am genuinely surprised how much I enjoyed this episode on this watch. Like, I could not believe, and I kept thinking about it for the next several days, because I watched this episode several days ago, and I kept thinking about it, and it was just getting better in my mind.
It makes me wonder, like, what other shows might actually be good, but the memory of them is tarnished. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I thought you were going to say what other shows are so good that people are like comparing this to, that they're like, no, Game of Thrones season 8 is shit.
No. Like, what I'm saying is, like, has anybody gone, like, okay, and by the way, full disclosure, not a fan of this show here, but has anybody gone back and watched Lost and then been times. Like, okay, is it as bad? Is the ending as bad as people say it is? Or like,
that's another thing, and I was going to talk about this more next episode, but since you brought it up, one of the things that we've talked about this a little bit as well, but like, it frustrates me to no end when people say an entire show is shit when the final season or the final episode or just the ending is bad. Because that is 100% the Lost problem. Like, the final season of Lost is not great, and the ending is not great. It's okay at best. But that doesn't take away the journey, like the whole journey versus destination thing, like reward. I don't know what the exact phrase is, but like, it's like, why are you turning on all the fun times and all the good seasons and episodes that you watched because of one or several episodes worth of bad experiences? I just don't understand that mindset. If it's a movie, I can get it, because a bad ending can ruin a movie because it's a much shorter time. It's a much shorter time investment. And you don't have, the emotional investment in a 2-hour movie that you do with a 12-hour, several years long show. Like, I will totally agree with that. A bad ending can absolutely ruin a movie. But even if a show is great and then the ending fumbles it completely, that doesn't discount the great stuff for me. Like, I just don't understand that mindset.
There's also a community mindset problem, like a hive mind problem that happens.
No, community is perfect. Don't call out community.
No. With shows like this that are just so, I guess,
widespread,
prominent in pop culture.
Yeah.
The masses are experiencing it together, so the masses decide on their opinion together.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's funny how this happens because I have had several friends who, over the last couple of years, have decided, you know what, I'm finally going to give this Game of Thrones show a shot. And they're like, you know, it could have ended this way or that way, but overall, they're like, that was great. Like,
all the way through, they've said this.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's been a couple even that I've been like, I'm curious your thoughts on the ending. You probably don't live under a rock. You've probably heard the ending's not great. I am personally a little bit more, forgiving when it comes to the last season. I'm curious, and I've had people be like I can see some of the issues, but like overall, it was still very good.
Yeah,
and so when people are left to like actually process their own thoughts and actually just experience it for what it is, it's like, hey, it can be good.
You know, and maybe this, maybe this is an us problem, Zach, is that we just spend too much time on Twitter or online, or, we're actually just giving a platform and a voice to the, the vocal minority, and everyone else out there listening is just like, no, dipshits, like, we get it. We liked it too. What are you fucking talking about? Like, honestly, I feel like this episode has been an hour and a half of us, like, kind of complaining about complainers, which is an irony in and of itself, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know how coherent this episode is going to be. I felt strongly about this episode, but also I want to I'm really genuinely curious. Like, if there are people out there, like I said, who hated it, have revisited, and if they still feel that way. Anyway, we need to do the thing that we do. Did you have any other final thoughts?
No. I think we're good. Let's do the who be thrown in.
Let's do who be. What the fuck? How did that happen? Where we last left off. Boy, it has been a couple weeks since we last recorded, and also my memory, I do not remember things. Where we last left off with who be thrown in. Tyrion Lannister had taken his first #1 spot in what has got to be about.
How did that happen, Scott? Tell us how we decided on that.
Could not even begin to tell you. Go listen to that episode, I guess. Daenerys Targaryen Stormborn was at 2. Sansa Stark was at 3. My fucking guy Bronn, so happy to see him at 4. I have a feeling that was mostly me. And then 5 was Jaime motherfucking Lannister. Okay, wow. This might be a very tough episode to do, Zach. I haven't given this 0 thoughts. Have you?
Yeah, no, okay.
I can think of one.
Actually, I know.
Who's gonna
I
make
can
the
think
list.
of 3 straight away.
I just pulled up
two
Sandor. Okay, who are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daenerys and Sandor.
Yeah. Okay, for sure. I 100% agree on both of those. Bronn comes down.
I think Daenerys, in my opinion, I think Daenerys takes the top spot in this episode.
People are gonna see that and be probably so confused. But I do not
at this point, it's not a positioning. Well, and even if it is a positioning thing, she fucking won.
No, that's true.
But for me, it's just Emilia Clarke and Daenerys's actions and depiction was just so interesting, and just the crux of this episode being fantastic.
No, I agree. I think she for sure, obviously makes the list, and I think you might be right about her being the top. I think so. The other 2 that I've pulled down here, but that were on the list last week, I think Tyrion and Jaime both have a strong case to make the list.
I agree.
Who else are you thinking? Do you think Cersei?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I loved the ending with her and Jaime, but I don't know if that justifies her making this particular
I'm gonna be honest,
list.
I don't know that there's a lot of other like power.
What about Arya?
When earlier when I said I have 3 and then I was like, no, maybe I just have 2. I was thinking Arya, and then I also like because of her scene with Sandor.
Mm-hmm.
But then also I was like, I didn't really love her this
Yeah, you
episode.
didn't love the rest of it. Oh shit! I know. Oh, this guy's got to make the list. Varys.
I thought about that.
I feel
What's your reason?
Varys. I think the ending, or excuse me, the beginning of this episode was so strong, and it was like, well, Sansa and Tyrion were very good too. It was like 40% him. It was like Varys, Daenerys, and Tyrion just like triple team carrying the first 20 minutes of this episode.
Yeah.
And I think his ending, I think everything he did was just so him, so his character. And I love Varys, and I think he went out like a champ, and I think he absolutely needs to make this list.
I think I could shake to that. Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Because honestly, I'm looking through here. We don't have a ton of candidates. I don't think Jon, for example, makes this list.
Jon didn't do anything this episode.
Really do anything. I'm torn a little bit on Arya.
I was just thinking, is Arya who we drop?
So for the audio listeners, who we have in contention right now is Arya, Varys, Daenerys, Sandor, Tyrion, and Jaime. So that is 6. I'm looking through the list here. I think it's just those 6 that we have to worry about. So many people are dead. Like there's so many people on my list now. I'm like a dead. Yeah, wow. I think that's it. Okay, yeah. So of these, is Arya who you would drop over? I mean, I think it's
Tyrion's
her, Jaime,
or
Tyrion.
Well, now Tyrion's scenes are very good.
Tyrion's scenes are very
because he also
good.
has the Jaime scene.
He also has
God.
He has the moment with Varys. He has Daenerys scenes. I think Tyrion for sure says. I think it's between Jaime and Arya that we drop.
Okay. Just so that listeners and watchers know that we're at least paying dues here. Arya's scene with Sandor was truly unbelievable.
It was so good.
It was so good. However, the way that I view that scene is that it was Sandor's scene. Like, Sandor commanded it.
He did. Maisie Williams' acting was so good, though.
I mean, I'm not disputing that, and I'm not saying that her acting was not as good as or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, the performance in that scene was Sandor. Like, that, like, it was his, like, look at me, like that.
Yeah.
That sold it for me.
She did have a really good moment with that horse, though. Yeah, okay.
And that's
Arya's
the reason
gone.
why we take her off the list.
Why we're taking her. That's so cruel. All right. I think I agree with you. I think this is our 5. I think it's Jaime, Tyrion, Sandor, Daenerys, and Varys. You feel pretty strongly about Daenerys going 1?
I'm like pretty fucking sure of Dany being number 1 spot.
I think the biggest argument I would have would be Sandor. But to get me of all people as invested in her as I was this episode, I think And also, if you just want to think about how the aspect of this that, power, who be thrown in. Yeah, I think it
she
has
quite
to be.
literally
She's
thrown in.
She's fucking melting shit.
Sandor second. This is
second. That's
no contest.
That's easy peasy. It's definitely Sandor second. Fucking hell. Every goddamn time.
It's inevitable.
Sandor goes to, who do you think goes next? Who do you think goes 3 out of Jaime, Varys, and Tyrion?
For me, it's Tyrion. Tyrion had more great scenes.
Agreed. After the first half of the episode, he didn't really do much, though. Not that I have a problem with that.
Okay, same with Varys.
All right, listen, you got me there, brother. Varys has a very good reason for that, but I'll shake to
for
that.
me, it's Tyrion, Jaime, Varys in that order.
No, I don't think I can put Varys at 5. What was that maneuver you just did?
Mean, I just think he's at 5. Jaime's scene with Tyrion. Oh man, Varys has great scenes with Tyrion too.
Fucking Varys, dude.
Well, he has one short.
I was about to say, and he goes out like a badass, but then I realized Jaime also goes out in this episode. Damn.
Jaime doesn't go out like a badass though.
That's true. It's a very
he just goes out.
Fitting end. Man,
I'm okay with Jaime at 5,
Okay.
Varys at 4, if that's what you're feeling.
That's what I'm feeling. I can't believe
Yeah.
I'm going to put Jaime in his final episode at 5. That makes me feel a little bad.
I mean,
I don't think this is where I expected us to end up, but looking at it, I think this is the only way.
Kind of makes sense, though.
Yeah, it kind of does make sense. Okay, I think that's our list. For the audio listeners out there, that is Jaime Lannister at 5, Varys at 4, Tyrion Lannister at 3, Sandor Clegane. Boy, 3 people deaths making the list this week. Sandor Clegane at 2, and Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen titles taking the top spot. Shocking upset from her, I think. Not at all.
Scott.
That's who be thrown in for this week.
I think you and I need to say our rating at the same time.
I'm terrified to rate this episode.
Let's just do it.
All right.
Say it. First thing that comes to mind.
Hold on. Let me think. Are you gonna count down like 3, 2, 1, say it?
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. But we say it on go. Don't say go.
Yes.
We just 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold. Fuck. All right. I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, 9.
Holy shit.
Fuck you, dude. And that's the end of the episode.
I can't fucking believe it. 9s. Hey, season 8 kind of good, y'all.
Season 8 might be good, guys. That is going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, subscribing, and liking. Do not forget to send in your submissions for our Game of Thrones recap episode. Be sure to share your hot takes, call us out on our bullshit, and just participate in the conversation. We love you guys. See you guys next time. Why did I do a hand heart? I don't do that.
Fun times.